is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It's Friday, April 24th, now on Good Morning Indiana.
You hit the nail on the head there, Raphael. I think the way to get out of this is to test.
An Indianapolis lab developing a test to tell you more about your risk to COVID-19. New this morning how the test works and when it could be rolled out. A local organization is making sure Hoosiers with disabilities are taken care of during this pandemic.
History, unfortunately, has always been that, the value of people with disabilities has not always been seen as strong.
Why some say the state needs to do a better job. Small businesses across the country have been hit hard by COVID-19. Working for you, we'll show you how one Knightstown business is helping others rebound.
This isn't a normal move. This is a move to move people forward.
Plus, a local moving company is preparing for a big shift this morning. Why this unusual haul will help Hoosiers from state line to state line.
Welcome to Good Morning Indiana on this Friday, April the 24th. Did you hear me say it is Friday? I am Rafael Sanchez. We are social distancing. Welcome to the RTV6 studios in Johnson County. Welcome, Lauren and Todd, to my living room. It is TGIF. It is good to see you both at the end of the week.
Oh, Rafael, it's great to see you as well. We finally made it through the week. Todd and I were saying earlier, these weeks just go on and on and on since we aren't together. But thankfully, we have some good news in your Friday forecast if maybe you want to take the laptop outside, Todd.
Yeah, especially this afternoon, Lauren, I think it'll be a great opportunity to work from the patio, to get a walk in, just to kind of get a break and get out of the house. It'll definitely be a possibility. Now, this morning, I've been talking all morning long about how this patchy dense fog is going to continue to settle into the area as the skies start to clear. And take a look at these visibility numbers now on the western side of the state. Next to no visibility in Crawfordsville, 3/10 in Lafayette, half a mile in Frankfort, half a mile in Petersburg. So this impacts both Interstate 65 and Interstate 74. So if you do have to get on the roadways, just be careful because this fog is continuing to become more dense and settle into more locations across central Indiana. And it all has to do with the skies clearing. As the skies clear with the cooler temperatures that we have to the north, that's why the fog is settling in there compared to southern locations, which are just fine. We're in the 40s and 50s. Good news is the sun is going to start to come up over the horizon here shortly. Once that does, it'll burn off this fog very, very quickly. We're in the 40s while the visibilities are still a little bit low here this morning, but then quickly through the 50s and eventually high temperatures later on this afternoon. We'll be climbing anywhere to about 65 to 70 degrees. It's a really nice Friday for us. Things change, though, once again over the weekend. It's a fast-moving weather pattern. We'll talk about that coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look right now at traffic. This is over on the east side, I-70 here, a view from Sherman Drive, and you can see it is quiet, and that is because finally this morning we should have all lanes of westbound I-70 now closed on I-70 between I-465 and the north split. The eastbound side, that's been closed for a little while now as NDOT crews are doing a major construction project in that area. Both of these directions have 30-day closures, so the eastbound side will reopen before the westbound side. The westbound side will now be closed for 30 days, so of course we'll keep you updated on that project. But now we want to get to the latest on the coronavirus and the impact that it's having on Hoosier lives. State health officials report 45 new coronavirus deaths. So far, COVID-19 has killed more than 700 Hoosiers. The state says 612 more people have tested positive for the coronavirus. And this morning, more than 13,000 Hoosiers have tested positive since the pandemic began.
The time now is 6:03, and new this morning, an Indianapolis lab is developing an antibody test to give you more information about your risk to COVID-19. The lab says it could have 1 million tests available in a matter of weeks. Marine Zach Kahn has a new call to duty. The owner of ARIA Diagnostics Lab is close to bringing to market an antibody test to determine if you are likely or not to get COVID-19.
We all want to know right now if we carry the antibody to this COVID-19. Can I go back to work safely? Do I have to worry about going back to work in the fall when flu season arrives? You're working on some stuff. Why is that key?
You hit the nail on the head there, Raphael. I think the way to get out of this is to test. The one that we're looking at strongly is a pinprick test. So it's very similar to a blood glucose monitoring test. It takes about 15 minutes and costs $20. That price could change, but we're pretty confident in the price. But the technology is very simple. 15 minutes, you know if you have the IgG antibodies.
The Carmel High School Graduates Lab already manufactures COVID-19 testing kits, donating a shipment of 50,000 to New York City to help with their efforts. In turn, the Big Apple is buying thousands more of those kits. And that's meant a doubling of Khan's workforce to keep up with the demand. It shows no sign of slowing down, as there's a push from the public and politicians calling for more testing.
It's like a Marine taking a field when half of the combatants have live rounds and the other half have blanks, and we just don't know who we're supposed to be firing at. Without knowing who is positive and who's not, because more than half of our patients that we've found positive were completely asymptomatic. We need to test everybody.
And we have more details this morning. ARIA Diagnostics says the tests will not roll out until they can make sure that the tests are accurate, affordable, and accessible. Meanwhile, this morning, testing is expanding to some high-risk areas across the city. More testing sites will open in high-impact communities, starting with Eastern Star Church near 30th and Arlington. The test will be free, but you must make an appointment. If you develop symptoms, you are asked to call 317-221-5515 or visit marioncounty.org/IndyCovid. You can find that information on our website, theindychannel.com.
Raphael, now to the latest on unemployment. Across the country, more than 4.4 million laid-off workers applied for unemployment benefits in the past week. For the week ending April 18th, 75,000 Hoosiers filed for unemployment benefits. However, this is the third week in a row unemployment claims have actually decreased, showing Indiana may be rebounding just a bit. The week before, 118,000 people filed for unemployment, and at the peak week ending March 28th, 139,000 people filed for unemployment claims. For more perspective, just before the COVID-19 pandemic hit Indiana, the week ending March 14th, only 2,500 people filed for unemployment. As many small businesses are turning to federal loans to help them during this time, one municipality is offering another option. Our Alyssa Donovan explains how a few local donors have actually come together in one small town in Indiana to ensure that their smaller shops, their neighbors, can stay afloat.
Small businesses are what Knightstown is made of. So when the COVID-19 closures threatened the chance for some of these shops to reopen, some larger businesses stepped in to lend a hand.
I love to bake.
That love led Lauren Owen to take ownership of Ye Old Corner Bakery, which was already well known in Knightstown.
So I started here on March 1st. March 16th was when the governor started the stay-at-home order. So it has been about a month and a half of quite a learning curve.
Like most small businesses, revenue took a dive, decreasing to about a third of what's typically brought in.
You know, no one steps into a business saying maybe there's going to be a global pandemic around the corner. That never really crossed anyone's mind when this was happening.
Longtime business owners aren't doing much better.
Well, it's mostly got me concerned and wondering about the future.
Diana Eister's shop, Timeless Furnishings, had steady business for years until this.
But right now, being closed, it's, I'm not making anything.
While things look grim for these small business owners, their worries have recently been lifted.
A few of the larger businesses in town that were willing to provide seed funding for the program and our COVID-19, we call it our business survival plan.
Small businesses in Knightstown can apply for a loan through the Business Survival Plan. It can be used to help with rent, utilities, or other payments.
To just meet the basic needs and get them through the next few months.
The safety net, one Knightstown business owners are grateful for. However, they're not shocked it was offered.
I think it's wonderful, but I'm not a bit surprised because that's how Knightstown is.
It makes sense that a town of people that are just giving in kind would make this giving in kind gesture.
We'll get through this together. That's all I have.
The funds were provided by the owners of CFH Enterprises, a developer in the area, as well as the owners of Hoosier Feeder and Citizens State Bank. That seed money has grown to just over $15,000 to help support the businesses in Knightstown. I'm Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you so much. Another example of Hoosiers working together. This pandemic continues to force the cancellation of some major events in our city, and this one really draws people from around the country. On Thursday, the Indiana Black Expo announced summer celebration will not happen. The decision applies to all public events, including the free concerts, the luncheon, and the gala. The Circle City Classic game as well and parade in the fall are also canceled for the year. This year, events would have marked 50 years of Indiana Black Expos serving our city.
You know, with this being the 50th anniversary of the organization, I mean, we're saddened by it, and it is what it is. It's a pandemic that we really have to make sure that we're protecting the safety and the health and the well-being of our community as well, because that goes to the very mission and core of the organization.
That was Tanya McKenzie, the leader of IBE. She says you can find ticket information, refund information by clicking on this story in the RTV6 app.
Raphael, thank you. Call 6 Investigates is getting answers about concerns related to the coronavirus pandemic and people with disabilities. John Fulton works for the ARC of Indiana. The organization is working to make sure that people with disabilities are treated fairly if they're diagnosed with COVID-19. The state has not had a shortage of ventilators, but some people are concerned about what could happen if doctors have to make difficult decisions.
The fear of what happens when and if numbers start to surpass the existence of ventilators and true rationing has to happen. I think history, unfortunately, has always been that, the value of people with disabilities has not always been seen as strong. And so I think parents have a real concern about what would happen.
It should be the same for anybody. If anybody gets it, they should be treated the same because we're just like you guys, just a little different.
Well, Call 6 Investigates found that Indiana's COVID response plan does not include ventilator triage guidance. Hospitals make those decisions. Call 6's Kara Kenny also reached out to the Indiana Hospital Association, who says they're committed to equitable allocation of resources, and they do not base decisions on whether someone has a disability or not.
A major Indiana manufacturer says they are ready to start making cars again. New at 6:16, when Hoosier workers are expected to return to that assembly line.
And these movers aren't preparing to move sofas or bedroom sets. New at 6:14, hear why they say this cargo is going to help Hoosiers statewide. Todd.
And Lauren, we're dealing with some visibility issues here this morning across parts of central Indiana. When you look at this graph, the longer the line, the clearer the skies. But you can see here during the 6 and 7 o'clock hour, we are dealing with some patchy, dense fog. We'll talk about where that fog is settled in and the rest of your day coming up in your Storm Team 6 forecast. The time now is 6:12. Stay with Good Morning Indiana. We're back in just a couple minutes.
To Keller and Keller.
Welcome back. The time right now is 6:15. We've been monitoring some fog for your morning commute. This is a live look right now at I-65 near the Lebanon Rest area to our northwest. You can see the visibility reduced just a bit there from our traffic camera. Keep that in mind as you're heading out on the roads. Use those low beam lights. Raphael?
Lauren, our road to our rebound is filled with a lot of good people. Every day we see people and businesses really stepping up in this unprecedented time. Our Kelsey Anderson joins us this morning with a moving story about a moving company working together to feed Hoosiers. And Kelsey, let me give you some props this morning. This is a great Friday story. I want to thank you for just filling us in. So take it away.
Hey, thank you, Raphael. I love a good news story, especially to end the week on. So what's happening is everything right now is happening here at Lucas Oil, and it started with volunteers packing 10,000 boxes full of food. But now that food is packed, the folks at 2 Men in a Truck are helping to get the food where it needs to go. I spoke with Scott Hodgen, the marketing director for the company, and he says they aren't moving as many people right now, and they're glad that they can help in the best way they know how.
It's actually a statewide effort. We've got basically every 2-minute truck in the state down here right now at Lucas Oil Stadium moving boxes of food, about 10,000 boxes of food for the Salvation Army.
Hodgins says not only does it feel good to help people in need, this is also helping to keep their employees on the payroll. Now, this effort to feed Hoosiers is put on by the Salvation Army, and Hodgins says they partner with the Salvation Army a lot throughout the year, and they give them all the credit for helping out Hoosiers in this time of need. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Great story there, Kelsey. Thank you so much. Well, the Rebound Indiana is our initiative focusing on life after the coronavirus outbreak. This morning, a major Indiana employer says they have a plan to restart production. Toyota operates a plant in Princeton. The plant, which employs 7,000 Hoosiers, suspended production on March 23rd. On Thursday, Toyota announced the plant will gradually resume production starting May 4th. The company officials say the plant will follow CDC and Indiana guidelines as employees return to work.
So that's Toyota, but Honda says it is not ready to reopen. Their plant in Greensburg has sat idle since March the 23rd. The facility along I-74 manufactures the Honda Civic, the CR-V, and Insight. Honda officials originally planned to restart production on May the 1st. Now they say the earliest production can resume is May the 8th. That means at least one more week of furloughs for a majority of the plant's 3,000 employees.
There's more than corn in Indiana.
The historic amusement park set on beautiful Lake Schaefer, as we're all reminded, in Monticello, is set to be back in business. A Chicago businessman has purchased Indiana Beach. The former owner announced plans to close that attraction, as you may recall, back in February for reasons not related to COVID-19. The sale is dependent on a $3 million loan that White County officials would have to make available to the new owner. Not exactly beach weather today, Todd Clausen, but plenty of sunshine as we head into the weekend, and for that, we are so grateful.
Yeah, you know, anytime you can end the week, right? You're talking about a good news story from Kelsey as we can end the week weather-wise with sunshine and seasonal temperatures. We'll take it, especially as we go into the weekend when rain chances return to the forecast. There is a little bit of patchy, dense fog out there across parts of central Indiana right now. It's not widespread, and the fog is settling in where the skies are clearing across the area, and that's to the north and off towards the west. And the visibility next to nothing right now in Crawfordsville, 0.3 of a mile in Lafayette, as well as Monticello. And as we make our way into the Frankfort area, the visibility is down to just about a half a mile. So if you do have to get on the roadways and you're traveling through these areas, just know that you'll really need to slow down and use those low beams. Temperatures are in the 40s to the north, where the skies have cleared and that fog is settling in, where temperatures are running a little bit warmer. There is no visibility issues right now towards Bloomington and Bedford. Indianapolis sitting at 49 degrees. Going forward in this forecast, we'll thin these clouds out throughout the day. We're never going to completely get rid of them. So today's just one of those days where the sun may disappear for a little while behind the clouds and then reappear, and we'll just toggle between that partly to mostly cloudy sky, but we don't have to worry about the rain. We're kind of sandwiched between systems right now, but the rain does come back into the forecast for tomorrow. So take full advantage of today. 61 degrees by the time we get to the noon hour, on our way up to highs anywhere from 65 to 70 degrees depending on where you are, with those warmer temperatures in southern locations. Now tomorrow we'll have the potential for rain and thunderstorms. No severe weather, that's the good news, but there could be some locally heavy rain. 62 on Saturday, 58 on Sunday. Sunday turns into a decent afternoon, albeit a little chilly, but temperatures will be in the 50s and the sun will be shining in the afternoon hours, so that will be improvement. But notice how this rain comes in during the afternoon hours tomorrow, so there will be an opportunity to get out and about during the morning on Saturday before this rain comes in. And once the rain starts, though, it's with us off and on throughout Saturday evening, all the way into the overnight hours, again, before it starts to pull out of here by daybreak on a Sunday. So prepare yourself for more rain tomorrow afternoon and evening. Monday's a good day for us. Partly cloudy, 63, before more showers and storms come into the forecast as we work our way, Raphael, into Tuesday and also on Wednesday.
Well, Todd, as your official weather watcher here in Johnson County, no fog at this moment in Franklin. Lots of us had our spring vacation plans changed. Remember that? Spring vacations? When was that? New at 6:27, we're looking at the problem some travelers are now having with their vacation rentals, so you don't waste your money.
And if you've been homeschooling your kids, you've probably been busy teaching them math and science. This morning, it's time to teach them some pop culture history. Coming up, actress Alicia Silverstone and New Kids on the Block are both live on GMA. The time right now is 6:22. Stick around, though. We'll be right back here on Good Morning Indiana. Working for you. Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. The time right now is 6:24 on your Friday. Raphael, it is time to talk about what is trending at 6.
So, Lauren, let's talk about the power of one. This is an amazing lady you just have to meet on this Friday. She lived through the Spanish flu pandemic back in 1918. You heard me right, 1918. And now she's making masks to help her community through the COVID-19 pandemic. Meet 104-year young Gertrude Larson of Fergus Falls, Minnesota, sewing masks for nursing home staff and residents. You go, Gertrude, on a machine that she bought back in 1939. The former nurse says the project is doing what her ancestors did, taking care of one another. Gertrude, you go.
Yes, that is awesome. These are times when I wish I learned how to sew, Raphael. Well, a Lowell, Massachusetts nurse has created a program to produce pictures of loved ones for coronavirus patients. Jana Barbieri says that she wants to do more for her patients while they're hospitalized. So she set up an email address and created the hashtag Pictures for Patients, and she even bought a printer. She's already delivered 24 photos to her patients. Great to see so many creative ways that nurses are not only doing their jobs, but showing that they care. So I love that.
I have another one for you this morning. Looking for another way to say thank you to workers on the front lines? Well, 4 friends in Williamsville, New York, have created a website. The website is called 6 Feet Closer. 6 Feet Closer. It allows anyone to make a video to be sent to a frontline worker anywhere in the country. Users can also nominate nurses, doctors, firefighters, police officers, store clerks, and others to receive a big message, a daily message of, we thank you, we appreciate you.
I love that. Raphael, I don't know if you've noticed, but since we've started this pandemic, I think we've had more good news stories than we've ever had. So more coming up later this morning on Good Morning Indiana. But before we get to that, we got to get you out the door. Todd is standing by with your Friday forecast. Hey, Todd.
Yeah, you know, we're dealing with a little bit of patchy fog here this morning, Lauren. Not a huge deal. It's not widespread. That is the good news. And it's only an issue for us for a few hours this morning where you are seeing it, and then it'll burn off and it turns into a decent day. By the time we get to the 10 a.m. hour and the noon hour, we're into the mid to upper 50s across the area, and high temperatures will eventually be topping off in the 60s as we toggle back and forth between partly to mostly cloudy skies, but we're dry. That's the good news. 69 today in Bloomington as well as Columbus, 64 the high temperature in Peru, and about 65 degrees the high temperature as you make your way off to the east in Wayne County and the Richmond area. Take advantage of today. Yesterday we had the rain. Today it's dry. Rain returns to the forecast by midday Saturday. We'll talk more about that coming up in the next half hour.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Well, if you have to cancel your spring or summer vacations, many travel companies are waiving their normal rules and offering full refunds. But there's one travel company that's getting more and more complaints because it's only giving away vouchers. Working for you, John Matarese looks at why, so you don't waste your money.
Millions of Americans have now canceled their spring and summer travel plans. Many of them are getting full refunds. But if you booked through Vrbo, it's complicated. Kathy Saffield spends her days now tending to her flowers. Until COVID-19 hit, she was planning a trip to this Siesta Key beach house with her 5 children and all the grandkids.
A 9-bedroom house through VRBO, and it ended up costing us almost $14,000.
Many travel spots, from cruise lines to Disney hotels, are now offering refunds to travelers. But Kathy had rented through Vrbo, vacation rentals by owner, which is only suggesting refunds. She says Vrbo told the owners,
Offer them a credit, and if a credit doesn't work for them, we suggest a full refund.
The beach is now closed. Beach restaurants, they're closed too. And the governor says no more spring breakers. But Kathy says the homeowners still want their money.
And then they said, I'm sorry, but we won't do that. The best we'll give you is credit toward a future stay.
She says they'll never be able to get all 15 people together again for that beach house.
Why can Airbnb do it and VRBO can't? And she said, I can't explain that.
But Vrbo's a multi-layered travel site with properties all individually owned. And Vrbo's sending renters like Kathy this letter explaining we cannot mediate a dispute between a partner and a traveler. So keep in mind, Vrbo is just a go-between for owners and renters. It's not a hotel or resort company. As always, don't waste your money. Working for you, I'm John Matteries. Good morning, Indiana.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now on Good Morning Indiana on this Friday morning, here's a look at your 6:30 news feed. COVID-19 testing of all 2,200 workers at Tyson Meats plant in Logansport is now underway. The plant was closed after dozens of workers tested positive for the coronavirus. It led to a spike in cases for Cass County. The health department reported 276 positive tests on Thursday, more than triple the number from just last week.
Indiana University researchers are leading a study to learn more about silent spreaders of COVID-19. IU School needs some volunteers right here in Marion County who have tested positive to have a test kit delivered to their home. The study is designed to show exactly how far the coronavirus has spread in our community. That could help determine when it's safe for governments to lift stay-at-home orders.
Well, there is some new life coming to Indiana Beach. An investor from Chicago has bought the 94-year-old amusement park from its former owner, Apex Holdings. Apex announced back in February it was closing Indiana Beach as well as 2 other amusement parks and has since filed for bankruptcy. The new owner says he hopes to have the park open sometime this summer. It is 6:30 here on our Friday TGIF. Thanks for joining us here on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Rafael Sanchez as we continue to social distance. Good morning from the living room here in Johnson County. But let's start this Friday with our ray of sunshine, meteorologist Todd Clausen, who has the best way to kick off a weekend. Todd, it's all yours.
All right, we're having some technical issues with Todd there, but he does have a great forecast to bring us for our Friday. We'll get to that shortly this morning. Let's take a look right now at traffic. Those are heading out there. Something Todd's been talking about all morning long is the visibility issues. Some of those spread out across central Indiana. As Rafael said, no visibility issues down in Johnson County, but up here to our northwest Boone County area and the Lebanon Rest area, you can see visibility decreasing from what we saw moments ago this morning. Keep that in mind as you're heading out on the roads. You'll need to watch out for areas of fog. Use those low beam headlights if you encounter fog for your commute, and obviously leave plenty of space between you and the car in front of you. The good news this morning, traffic is lighter due to the stay-at-home order. Of course, we'll keep you updated on any crashes or delays. Here at 6:32, Indiana is paying out a record amount of unemployment benefits to help Hoosiers rebound and get back on their feet. Starting today, gig workers, independent contractors, and the self-employed can start applying for benefits through the Federal Care Act. Applicants who are approved will start to see those benefits on May 8th. The average wait time is 21 days. You can find more information about unemployment resources at our website, theindychannel.com.
The time now is 6:32. The president is set to sign into law the expansion of a federal program meant to help small businesses. This after Congress passed this large multi-billion-dollar measure. But a banking group says much of the $310 billion being added to the Paycheck Protection Program may already be spoken for. The Consumer Banking Association says the number of applications already sent to the Small Business Administration makes it likely that much of that new money will go to those businesses that have already applied. Analysts at Bank of America say the program could mean as much as an extra $1 trillion to provide enough help to businesses that really need it at this moment in time. Many larger publicly traded companies who were able to get funding from the first round of the protection plan, well, they're not going to start refunding that money. Now, Ruth Chris Steakhouse says it will accelerate repayment of its loan after facing criticism from small business owners who were not able to get the money. Ruth Chris was among dozens of larger businesses that used a loophole in the original program to apply for those loans. The Treasury Department has since changed its guidelines, and now all borrowers must certify in good faith that they absolutely need the loans to keep operating.
At 6:33, we are seeing it over and over again during this crisis. Communities coming together to help each other make it through. And one town just a little east of Indy is rallying together to ensure that those mom and pop shops that make this place so special survive this pandemic. Our Alyssa Donovan has that story.
If you drive through Knightstown, you'll notice it's dotted in small, locally owned businesses. These are staples in the community, and they're run by people who are proud to call Knightstown home. So when the stay-at-home order went into place and business came to a screeching halt, some of the larger businesses decided to help out the smaller ones. The streets are quiet in Knightstown today, but normally there's people walking in and out of these mom and pop shops. Businesses like Timeless Furnishings have flourished with steady business for years, and Ye Old Corner Bakery just under new ownership, weeks before the stay-at-home order went into place. With more than a month of little to no business, shops like these may not survive, but the people of Knightstown weren't going to let that happen.
A few of the larger businesses in town that were willing to provide seed funding for the program and our COVID-19, we call it our business survival plan. So we're helping small businesses to just meet the basic needs, to pay the rent or the mortgage, utilities, and get them through the next few months.
The funds are coming from the owners of CFH Enterprises, a developer in the community, and owners of the company Hoosier Feeder, along with Citizens State Bank. Businesses can apply for the loans as needed. And the business owners we talked to said they were grateful for the loans. However, they weren't surprised, saying that's just how Knightstown is. It's a town full of people who want to help and support each other. I'm Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you so much. So many great people in that community. Every day, we see people just stepping up, right? Even when their own businesses may be suffering. A moving company that isn't doing much moving these days is helping people in a new way. Our Kelsey Anderson joins us live this morning with those details, Kelsey. And as I said, you have the story of the morning.
Hey, good morning, Raphael. This is a really good story. Obviously, moving companies don't have much business right now. People just aren't moving. And for 2 Men in a Truck, they're trying to use that free time to help feed Hoosiers across the state. And it's all starting right here at Lucas Oil Stadium.
We're underneath Lucas Oil right now, and that's what 10,000 boxes of food looks like.
Scott Hodgen gave me a virtual tour of the work 2 Men in a Truck are doing alongside the Salvation Army.
It's actually a statewide effort. We've got basically every 2 Men in a Truck in the state down here right now at Lucas Oil Stadium moving boxes of food.
Nearly 10,000 boxes of food will be making its way through the state.
They're going to go to the different Salvation Army distribution centers and just boom, boom, you just start feeding people.
Hodgen says it feels good to help right now, and it just reiterates that they are Indiana's movers who care.
This isn't a normal move. This is a move to move people forward.
Hodgen says they work a lot of the times with Salvation Army throughout the year, and he gives all the credit for this current campaign to them. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
All right, well, thank you, Kelsey. I'm back. I had to replace the batteries in my microphone. That's why you couldn't hear me earlier, so I apologize about that. We're starting off with a little bit of patchy fog this morning across parts of the area. It's not super widespread across the entire area, but where it has settled in, it's pretty thick. Visibility down to a quarter mile in Lafayette, and then extends down towards the Crawfordsville area as well. Not as much of an issue in Indianapolis, reduced a little bit. Bloomington, no visibility issues at all. Where the fog is settling in, that's where the sky skies are clearing. Sunrise is a little before 7 o'clock this morning. Once the sun comes up, we'll burn this fog off pretty quickly and get the temperatures today anywhere from 65 to about 70 degrees. The sky, I picked this picture on purpose. That's kind of what our sky is going to look like today in the background there. We are going to kind of toggle back and forth between partly cloudy skies and then eventually mostly cloudy skies, but we remain dry. These rain chances I'm showing you right now, those are for the day tomorrow. Notice how they ramp up throughout the day. We'll talk more about that weekend forecast coming up in just a little bit.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Families around the world, they've been unable to hold traditional funerals because of the COVID-19 pandemic, and so that's left many unable to properly grieve. Up next, we'll talk to a woman who lost her mother to the virus. She's sharing her family's story. We'll have that and much more on the other side of the break. Stick around.
RTV6 app. RTV6 working for you.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. The time now is 6:41. COVID-19 has killed people worldwide, which means that families have been unable to hold traditional funerals around the globe. Maria Wildbridge was unable to be at her mother's side. Maria works in the Marion County Prosecutor's Office. She has multiple jobs, including as a Spanish translator in all major trials. 1 month ago today, her mother died alone in Spain of COVID-19. Luckily, she had visited Indiana weeks before she was killed by the virus. Josefina Linares Mendez enjoyed the shops, the scenic views, and the seasonal charms of Nashville. It's what connected the matriarch from Madrid to Brown County. This was her second trip to Indiana in 20 years to visit her daughter, Maria. Maria is one of 9 children, 8 girls, 1 boy, born to Josefina and Miguel Romero. Mom, the seamstress, made the children's clothing. The family grew up in Madrid, where she had a big 80th birthday party in September. This past February, Josefina returned to Indiana to visit her grandson at Purdue and to take in Nashville as well. When the cancer survivor returned to Spain, COVID-19 would take her life. She died alone. She was cremated and honored in a private burial. The Queen, La Reina of her family, lives on in their memories and hearts. Her Hoosier family says they feel blessed by her last trip to Indiana, knowing their love and being together was the best place to be. And so, like many families, the goal now is to hold a celebration of life for her and others around the world. In Indiana, that includes some 600 families that, of course, were killed by COVID-19. The number worldwide, that's 178,000 people killed in this pandemic.
Raphael, thank you for that story. Well, more than 500,000 Hoosiers have filed for unemployment recently, but there's still companies that are hiring right now. Coming up, we'll highlight some of them in our latest Hiring Hoosiers job feed. Todd.
And Lauren, as you work your way throughout the course of the day, if you're thinking about getting out for a walk, a run, or maybe a bike ride, your exercise forecast is good from this morning all the way through this afternoon and into the evening hours. There are no alerts for you for the day today. That'll change as we head into the weekend. We'll talk more about that Saturday and Sunday forecast for you coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues. The time now is 6:44. Stay with us. We're back in just a couple minutes.
Keller and Keller, right now.
Welcome back. COVID-19 has hundreds of thousands of people in the state of Indiana without a job right now. But here at RTV6, it's been our commitment to more than a year now to connect you to available jobs through our Hiring Hoosiers campaign.
It's really one of the best parts of our jobs, Lauren, as we now enter our second year, really. So let's take a look right now at this very moment on this Friday. Who is hiring at this moment? Right now, Clean Source Commercial Cleaning Service has 2 part-time positions available right now a floor technician and a cleaning associate. Carroll's Corporation, which is a Burger King franchisee, is hiring a restaurant assistant manager.
And Home Helpers Home Care of Carmel is hiring. They say if you're a caregiver looking for consistent hours, work-life balance, and career growth, they have positions for you. Engeldow Group, a local landscape design and maintenance company, is hiring a landscape crew members, a mowing crew member, and a chemical applicator.
And telecommunications company Metronet is hiring a sales assistant in Carmel and a broadband technician in Lafayette. All of these jobs came from our Hiring Hoosiers job board. Companies post their job openings on that board every single day, including a link to their application process. You can find the job board right now at hiringhoosiers.com.
Also, Raphael, and Hiring Hoosiers this morning, NDOT is hosting a virtual job fair a week from today. This is a job fair that was actually rescheduled from last week. The department is looking to fill more than 100 jobs. The NDOT job fair is next Thursday, April 30th. It will be held from 10 to 11 a.m. You can attend using Microsoft Teams or online video conferencing or your desktop, or your mobile device. The jobs include summer seasonal workers, highway technicians, equipment mechanics, and construction engineers. NDOT says registration is not required. You can find out more information about this virtual job fair right now at hiringhoosiers.com. If you're heading out to work, though, on this Friday, you may have to dodge some areas of fog. Todd, what's it looking like out there?
Yeah, you know, really just depends where you are, Lauren. The fog is the thickest to the north and west, but you're exactly right. If you do have to get on the roadways, some of you are definitely going to have to slow down and make sure you use those low beams from Lafayette to Crawfordsville over towards Vietersburg, which obviously impacts Interstate 65 and Interstate 74. That's where the visibilities are the lowest, and you notice they're below 1 mile, which I always tell you is the threshold from semi-fog to dense fog. But Monticello, Lafayette, Crawfordsville, Frankfort, Covington, and Vietersburg, again, all below a 1 mile visibility. So use some extra caution where the fog is settling in. It's where the skies have cleared. Temperatures are in the 40s in those areas, 50s to the south where no visibility issues are present from Bloomington over towards Bedford. So skies are in the process of trying to clear. We're never going to completely get rid of the clouds throughout the day today, but we did get rid of the rain. That's the good news. And we'll have sunshine mixed with clouds throughout the day today. So overall, we'll call it partly to mostly cloudy skies, but it's a dry day and temperatures warm pretty quickly throughout the day today. Should be up to about 58 degrees by the time we get to the noon hour. And then as we continue into the afternoon, temperatures will climb anywhere from about 65 to 70 degrees, depending on where you are across the area. And if you do have plans this afternoon or this evening, maybe to fire up the grill, have dinner outdoors with on the patio with the family, you'll be just fine. Now, tomorrow, your planner starts off with clouds, and then the rain comes in during the afternoon and evening hours. So anything you want to do outdoors on Saturday, the earlier you do it, the better before this rain comes in. Because once the rain does start tomorrow, unlike yesterday when it was just kind of a light, steady rain throughout most of the day, tomorrow there's definitely going to be pockets of heavier rainfall across the area, and maybe even a few rumbles of thunder as we get into tomorrow evening. But we are not expecting any severe weather. That's good news. Here we are, 5 a.m. on Sunday, and you see there's still some rain present. We'll deal with some showers Sunday morning. The second half of Sunday, though, we get back into the sunshine. We'll carry that sunshine over to Monday with a temperature of 63 degrees. Then as we work our way into Tuesday and Wednesday, more showers and storms in the forecast with temperatures in the 60s and 70s, followed by a dry day on Thursday. So almost every other day in our 7-day planning forecast will go from sunshine and dry conditions to rain, back to dry, back to rain. The good news is, with the exception of that 58-degree high temperature on Sunday, our temperatures will be pretty seasonable for this time of year.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look right now at traffic. This is in the downtown area, I-70 at the North Split. We do have an update from you. NDOT is working on that I-70 project. They have had those lanes closed in one direction, but now both directions are closed. They blocked the westbound lanes during the early morning hours. The exit and entrance ramps in that area blocked off as well. So keep that in mind as you're heading out the door. That is a 30-day closure for the westbound side as well. Eastbound, we still have a few more weeks of that closure, and of course, we'll keep you updated. Well, Good News Friday is coming up next, and you have to keep dancing, even though dance studios in the area are closed. So we'll show you how one dancing dad and husband is going the extra mile to keep patrons of one dance studio in the groove. We'll be right back.
RTV6 app on your phone or streaming device.
It is time for Good News Friday. We've heard around the country some stories about how some farmers are having to dump excess milk and fruits and vegetables because the restaurants and schools are closed right now, Lauren, but things are getting better.
Yeah, that's right. Now, at least some of that extra food, it's not going to go to waste. And that's all thanks to supermarket chain Publix. It launched a new initiative on Wednesday to help get the food to the Americans who need it the most. Publix says it will buy the fresh produce and milk from farmers impacted by this pandemic. The company will then donate that food to Feeding America, the food banks that are operating in all of the area's stores. Publix says it expects to donate 150,000 pounds of produce and more than 43,000 gallons of milk this week alone.
Right foot slide. Basically, I'm saying either way, we about to slide.
That is not the hokey pokey, but last night's first round of the virtual NFL draft was certainly different, as you can see. And the commissioner of the NFL dancing was certainly a first as well. After Alabama wide receiver Jerry Jeudy was drafted by the Denver Broncos, he celebrated, as you can see, by teaching Commissioner Roger Goodell his TikTok dance.
They gave it a good effort. Well,
yeah, that was awesome.
Oh my goodness.
I think we should do that at some point. So speaking of dancing, Lauren, I was supposed to MC the dance recital for Stage 1 Dance Academy in Greenwood last weekend at Old National, but that was canceled because of the pandemic. But that does not mean that dancing has to stop.
Yes, and so obviously I'm sure that was a disappointment for all the young dancers who have worked so hard this past year, Rafael. So to cheer them up, one dance husband and dad is putting in the extra effort to bring smiles to students' faces while they're stuck at home. Take a look.
Then just do what I do. Roll it in.
Well, that is a video compilation of some of the best moves by Cameron Stallhut, as you can see. Extremely versatile, showing off his skills, Rafael, in hip-hop, ballet, lyrical, even tap a little later. His wife, Katie, is the executive director of Stage 1 Dance Academy on the South Side. Cameron tells us, I simply want to spread as much love and joy with humor and dance while the studio is closed. And Rafael, I was talking to Katie yesterday. The funniest part, I think, about this is that he obviously has been to a lot of dance recitals. You can see some moves there. So a good effort by Cameron.
Good effort.
Good effort. All right,
Let's get
Todd.
the recital next year.
Yes. Todd, what are we expecting in the forecast today?
Temperatures in the mid-60s today with partly cloudy skies.